Camera's right there.
No, you need to kind of putting it up a little bit.
No, we can't do that.
Yes, we can.
So we're live.
Where am I
Yeah,
looking?
you're looking at the camera like always.
So it's
We're not
if I'm
beginners in
looking,
this game.
but we used to do that camera, and so
No, we always do this.
where's
one.
the feed?
The feed's right there.
Okay.
So
Nobody's with us.
No, I guess.
It's just you and me. It's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Date time.
Yeah, it could. You never know. I mean,
but
does anybody have anything better to do with a Friday night than spend it watching us?
Well, somebody's going to be really excited because
6 people are on. So tonight we're giving away another sprayer. We gave away on Paint Life members a few nights ago a Titan 410 sprayer, and we're giving away another Titan 410 sprayer right here. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I clarify?
Yeah.
So the first 410, we gave it to our Paint Life member of the year.
Oh yeah, so Paint Life, yeah, and I guess do they even know what Paint Life members is?
Yeah.
So
why don't you tell them?
So Paint Life members is a Facebook group we started quite a while ago on Facebook. Imagine that. So it's a private group that we started because we wanted a safe place for people to come ask questions, professional painters along as do-it-yourselfers, share the projects, get respectful answers, and just be a safe place, because I had a really bad experience with getting on a group before, and chatting, and some people just attacked me and the moderators allowed it, and I didn't have a group before that, and I was like, wow, this was a really bad experience, and people were being very disrespectful to me, and so I was like, we gotta start a group that is one where people respect each other, and where they don't dogfight with each other and stuff, and so Paint Life Members was born. Yeah,
and it's a community of painters that help each other and DIYers.
Painters helping painters.
Painters helping painters, and we have 4 awesome moderators, so we want to shout out to them because it really is a job, and they really have a passion to help and encourage and to keep it a safe place, because we realize the group isn't about us. We're just members like everybody else, but it's everybody sharing. And so shout out to Alan Reshecki.
Alan Reshecki is probably be good to pronounce his name right after 3 years.
I really thought I was doing it right.
Sorry, Alan.
Sorry.
It's Reshecki.
Okay. Ron Thrall.
Ron Thrall. You got that one right.
Painter Ron.
Painter Ron.
XC Painter.
XC Painter. And
Jason. Say his last name.
And so people, I'm sure a lot of people know XC Painter. He's pretty big on Instagram. I think TikTok too, and YouTube.
So, and Pro Tall Painter.
Pro Tall Painting.
Edward Jones.
Edward Jones, and he's on big on Instagram also. A shout out to those guys. Follow them if you don't follow them. They are like-minded, like us, Lisa and I, and they are our moderators, and they do a tireless job and do an amazing job. So we're thankful for them. So
that 410, we gave it away to somebody that it was the first Paint Life member of the year. And this is a little bit different because there's 40 names in here. 40 names.
Well, we're gonna do our giveaway later.
Yeah, but you can say what it is, because
we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We do have some. So today I wanted to. I looked at your paint brand after last night, Centurion, and not a single store in Oklahoma stocks it, which shocked me in being in Dallas. So this is a video, a live show that I titled Cabinet Coatings Questions and Answers Live. So if you've got any questions about cabinet coatings, I use Centurion Coatings 2800 series 2K poly, and it's an the best paint I've ever used for cabinets and furniture. I've been repainting a lot of furniture. Absolutely amazing. So if you have any questions,
I can't read those. That's so small.
Could you read it on your phone?
No? I think I'll have to start doing that.
Outdoor adventure with the beard. So Centurion Coatings is one of the great things about them. It's wow.
You told me to look on my computer, so that's showbiz.
So So this is live.
Mhm.
So it's made in the USA, and it's a family-owned company. A guy, Tom Hugh Miller, started the company. He started painting out of college and stuff, and so he started manufacturing his own stains for staining fences, and now that evolved into manufacturing all kinds of coatings, including chemical-based cabinet coatings and water-based cabinet coatings. And so Centurion Coatings is made in Texas, available widely in Texas. It's starting to grow rapidly, across the US. So it is a little bit difficult to find in some areas. So if you're having a problem finding the products, go to centurionwoodcoatings.com, and they have a list of their distributors. And there's 3 of them I know that ship online, and shipping process is pretty easy. There's one in Pennsylvania, one in Missouri, and one in Spokane,
It's best for
Washington.
them to just go to the website.
Okay, but yeah,
Yeah.
but I can still say, can I?
Yeah.
Okay, so and so those 3 ship online, and so you can find who those people are. One of them's Miller Paint, and I don't know the others. You're gonna have to look at them. Man, the feed is going crazy.
They have a good website.
So somebody says I have evil approach needs a sprayer. I've watched many videos of yours. Hey, thank you very much, Daniels. See, when are you going to do some workshops, Jim? When are we going to do workshops, Lisa? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, but real fast, I just want to say we are giving away a 410, and it's
Later.
a raffle ticket. We sold 40 raffle tickets. 100% of the proceeds are going to the tornado victims, and one of the 40 people will win a 410 tonight. So that's coming.
Let's see, Alan is actually on. I use Pro Classic instead of Emerald. So if you're using either one of those for cabinet coatings, I would highly recommend you try out a 2K poly, which I did a survey on my Instagram, and it was amazing how many people didn't even know what poly meant. And I put 3 different terms on there. One of them was polyurethane, which is what it is. It's a polyurethane. I put polyurea, and is in reference to floor epoxies and coatings. And then I put another term that was in reference to, I think it was something medical. And it was interesting how many people didn't know. But 2K poly, Centurion's 2K poly is a water-based polyurethane that can be used 1K or 2K. If you're not familiar with what 1K and 2K are, I got videos on that. But used out of the can straight is 1K. It's not doing anything with it, just using it out of the can. Using it 2K, adding a hardener or a catalyst makes the product extremely better. And so if you're not using those type of products, if you're using Emerald or Pro Classic, it's an absolute game changer to try a product like this. So you got to give it a try.
So I have the feed. I could read questions for you that you could listen to. But you have something down here that we just got in the mail right now that we're going to send off.
Yeah, I'll show that. So Michael Slam is actually on. He's from Boise, and he asked, I was wondering if you have to worry about freezing, when it comes to having the product shipped. And that's an interesting question. Whoa. So we have a guest.
She knows that there's a live show, and so she's come to
harass us.
Yes.
So you do have to worry
Go
about
get your ball.
You do have to worry about freezing. And I know I know.
Come on.
This is what you call live. So a customer just recently received some paint that was shipped online, and it was frozen. So it does have to be packaged, and it does have to be packaged so it doesn't freeze. And one of the a Miller rep was just at our store yesterday, and we were talking about that. And what was interesting is what I was told to keep it from freezing, they actually just put hand warmers in the box, and that's interesting. So hand warmers in the box will help keep the paint from freezing, but it does have to be packaged so it doesn't freeze. because if it does freeze, that's a bad thing. I know paint can go through several freeze thaw cycles, but not super hard freeze thaws. But I personally would never want to use any paint that's ever been frozen even once. So if it froze, I wouldn't want it. I would want it to be, returned and reshipped. So was looking on the site, PLS site for Paint Life Supply site for Centurion. What about tinting it? So what about tinting it, Lisa?
What about tinting it? So
so we actually Paint Life Supply actually sells Centurion coatings. As Paint Life Supply is a distributor of the product, but Paint Life Supply doesn't tint it. If you need
not yet.
Not yet. We're in the process of getting a tinter, so it's going to be tinted in the near future. But if you need it tinted, go to CenturionWoodCoatings.com, and there's a list of distributors, and I know there's 3 of them that do a pretty amazing job shipping nationwide, and those 3 do tint, and they'll tint to any color, any fabric that you want. So
did you talk about this that just came in the mail?
So
but it's not staying with us.
This just came in the mail, so
it's passing through our home.
It just got sent to us because we just gave it away on Paint Life.
They donated it.
They we didn't give it away. Well, we gave it away, but Unita gave it to us, the Ecosan, to give away to Paint Life members. So Brian Wagner won it on our live show on Facebook. Paint Life members, we gave away a bunch of stuff on Paint Life members, including an Ecosan 5-inch round orbital sander. He said he had a job coming up where he had to do a lot of restoration and sanding, and so he won the sander. So we just received it in the mail. Brian, if you're watching the show here on YouTube,
probably Monday it'll be shipped out.
It's going to be shipped to you. So thank you, Unita, the company. It's a family-owned and operated company over 52 years here in the United States, right out of New York. They have been manufacturing abrasives and sanders for a whole long time. Best sanders that I've ever used. So give them a try, give them a shout out.
So I see something sitting right there.
What do you see?
I see a beanie.
Oh, you want to?
And it's winter time.
It is winter time, so Paint Life beanie. This has actually been sitting on my desk.
It looks a little dusty.
It's a little dusty. You should probably give it away.
But it looks brand new.
It is brand new. It was one of the very first ones we got sent. It was a sample that I had to okay. I gotta shut this off because we don't want this ringing the whole time. So you can give away a beanie. We got a few brushes.
Okay, I'm gonna read
some questions.
I'm gonna read some questions.
Matt Marino is question: hired a professional to paint a raw wood built-in cabinet. Everything finished. Now things sticking and paint is peeling. Watching your videos have me thinking it's time to start fresh. So yeah, apparently not the proper prep and not the proper top coat, was used. So when you're using a product, and this is when it comes to using the proper coatings for cabinet coatings, especially cabinets, because especially for painting the inside of it, like an entertainment center, things are stacked on it. And one of the things you're going to run into if you use a coating, I'm going to compare 2 together, like Benjamin Moore Advanced, which is a great coating for brushing and rolling, but it has a 30-day cure time, and it's a very long stack time where you can put things on it that aren't going to stick to it. You really shouldn't be stacking anything on it for 30 days because it takes 30 days to cure. Centurion coatings are 2K poly. It has an 8-hour cure time, so literally after 8 hours, you can begin stacking things on it and transporting it safely and stuff because it dries in about an hour, cures in about 8 hours. Absolutely amazing. You can literally sand it with a power sander within an hour and recoat it. Absolutely amazing.
So I want to read and then I want to give this away.
What are you going to give away?
Yeah. So Scott Shaw said I missed the raffle for the tornado victims. Middle Tennessee here we missed, but spent the time in the basement a week ago. So hopefully, Scott, your house and everything was safe. But since you missed it, and probably very scary, we want to send you this hat. So how can I send him this hat?
Just
Scott Shaw.
Go to Paint Life Supply, paintlifesupply.com, and that's a store. Paint Life Supply Co. And the website has a little reamaze icon on the bottom. It's a chat icon where you literally chat with us by phone. And the message gets sent to us by phone, and we try to answer them, as quickly as we can. If we're sleeping, we can't. But get on there, hit the chat button, say what you want, where you want it. Give us your email address. We're going to ask you for a shipping address so we can ship you the item, and we can ship them a Malibu brush along with a beanie. So Premier brush and roller, which makes the brushes that I use, absolutely love them. I think they're the best brushes made. They just came out with a new one. I've been testing the Malibu. I absolutely love it. I've been brushing and rolling trim, which I rarely ever do. And so I typically always spray, but there's every now and then you got to do what you got to do. I've been brushing trim with Benjamin Moore Advanced with this brush, and I got to tell you, the results are amazing. If you have to brush trim, Benjamin Moore Advanced is a pretty dang good product, and this brush is a great brush to brush it with. So I can hear Maya, and she's like wanting all the attention. So there it is, the Premier brush right there, the Malibu. So it's awesome. They make the best brushes out there, in my opinion. All handmade in New York. So we want to support Made in the USA, handmade. So there you have it.
So Jonathan Carter says, what size tip is best to use when spraying a metal garage door? I used a 515 today, and I put way too much paint on it until it started running on me. Too big of a tip for that applicator or user error?
So I'm not sure whether we're talking the big roll-up door that the cars drive through, or the door that the man door that people walk in.
Well, it's metal.
And, so it's metal. So
I would probably think that what you drive through.
So probably what we drive through. We always use a 515. Now paint is always a critical part of the equation, along with tip. And then how old is the tip? So a 515 tip is actually a 517 tip after about 20 gallons. So if you're using a new 515 tip and you're using a good product that dries in low temperatures, because right now the temperatures are pretty low, everywhere. And if you're using a product like, I'll tell you right now, Duration from Sherwin-Williams, which I absolutely love in the summertime, but in cool temperatures, anything literally from 55 degrees and below, it's absolutely dangerous to be spraying because it runs really easy no matter what tip you're going to use. So there is some experience, that goes along with this, but a 515 tip is what we would use for the man door and the roll-up door. And but then like Benjamin Moore Aura is a great product to spray with a 515 tip. And so
the weather, if the tip is
old
the product
tip,
they're using,
pressure, make sure your pressure is not too high. The pressure should be around 2200 psi. For most products out there. And
if you don't know your pressure, you can buy a pressure gauge.
If you don't have a pressure gauge, get an HEA gauge and put a HEA gauge on all my sprayers. Titan 410s, 440s. We always have a gauge on there, so we know exactly what we're running at the pump.
So William Garcia says, hello, Chris. I'm in the market for a new large electric pump. I'm thinking of the Titan Impact 1140 or the Graco 1095. Which would you recommend?
I have a Titan 1140. Absolutely love it, and I think it's a great pump. So I think Titan makes hands down the best small pumps. In the 410 and 440 are great small pumps. I think Graco makes an excellent large pump. I've had a lot of success with Graco's 695, love it. And I've had a Titan 1140 for, 10. The very first one I ever got was when I did Cody Crone's, the Wrangler Stars house. I painted his house in Oregon or Washington, and that was the first time I ever used 1140. Absolutely amazing, still thing brand. It runs great. Never had an issue with it. The only thing I ever had was I forget what it's called, that a little part that went out on it, but there was the only thing that went bad on it. So I hadn't had to repack it or anything. So I would highly recommend, because I've I haven't had as much experience with the 1095, but I'd probably go with the 1140 if I had my choice. Some
So,
of it's really, I mean, do you like blue or red?
so I'm just gonna say, the 40 people, hopefully you're on. One of you is gonna get a 410 in a little bit.
Okay.
But we have Lance's wall art. I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah,
He
it's
said,
been a while for
"Wow, back on YouTube Live, huh? Love it." So yeah, hope you're doing well, and
So
it's good to be back.
we talked about it a little bit on Paint Life Memories the other night, and we hadn't been on YouTube for quite a while live, and we started thinking about it, and it's a big part of what we used to do, and we felt like we wanted to start doing live shows again on YouTube because we wanted to be able to just support Paint Life members and people Paint Life people that just had needed help and needed live help and just to help support the community. And we decided we're going to start doing a couple live shows, every month. And here it is live on a Friday night of all things. And us, along with all the people on here live, I guess we have nothing better to do on a Friday night, but it keeps us from partying, I guess. So let's see. I quit my job to start painting company. What kind of advice can you give me to get my first job and keep moving forward? So to get your first job, our first jobs when I started our painting company came from friends and family. So hit up your friends and families who needs painting, and then your house probably needs some painting, but you don't get paid to do that. So I think when I started my painting company, the thing that worked best, and I say this all the time, was door hangers. Door hangers, and in like Albertsons, your grocery stores, a lot of community places, pull tags. I used to do pull tags and a lot, and those were very effective. Craigslist was very effective for just getting jobs, not making a whole lot of money. Craigslist is I don't even know if that Craigslist exists anymore, but door hangers are very effective. So Lisa's reading.
I am reading.
Lucas says you're looking cut, man. So he's probably talking about you because you just got back from CrossFit. So I think you're looking cut.
I'm not looking cut.
Your cheeks are looking pretty chiseled.
No,
So,
they're red because I'm
you-
alive
did you,
still. It was hard.
So did you work your butt off? Thumbtack. So somebody said thumbtack.
It was hard.
When Thumbtack first came out, I used Thumbtack. Angie's List was very successful for me, but Angie's List, like a lot of these things, just turn into these things where you pay to play, and if you don't pay, they aren't going to put you, up on the list and stuff. And I think they begin to become kind of a scam, and I'm just not a fan, of organizations like that. And they'll start calling you saying, do you want to advertise? Do you want to advertise? And, and it's the people that put you on there, not you that put you on there. And if you don't pay to advertise, they just bury you and you'll never be seen. And so I'm not a fan of those things.
So Chuck Fisher said he came and checked out the store when he was doing some work in Boise. Unfortunately, it was on Sunday. I know you guys were closed, but still wanted to check it out. So this is just a note. We are a specialty store. We don't sell paint, so we're not open regular business hours. But if you come in town, part of us having a retail store is so that people that are visiting or they are in Boise, that they could come in and talk to Chris and get help and get products. So if you are coming to Boise, on our store chat, you can say, I'm coming to Boise. And guess what? The store's only a couple miles from our house. We've gone down and
we'll meet you there.
Yeah, one day I had him get up really early because somebody came from Washington.
Drove from Washington. I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go down there. And you know what? If you get a hold of us, we're going to come down and meet you down there. So
we can open the store ourselves.
That's what we do. And so
next time,
it's about supporting you guys. So we've had people come as far as North Carolina to our store, and so. Make sure you let us know. Don't leave here without, getting in the store if you've come from out of town. So Mike says, what is your recommendation on cleaning your sprayers for long-term storage now? And do you recommend thinner? So if And one thing I highly recommend not doing is cross-contaminating your sprayers. If you use a sprayer for water-based coatings, don't put anything in it but water-based products. If you have an oil-based pump, then you use oil-based products and you use thinner or mineral spirits, paint thinner mineral spirits. If you got a lacquer pump, use lacquers in it. Now my water-based pumps, long-term storage and everyday storage, I always clean them out at the end of the day. And then I put auto antifreeze in them. And auto antifreeze, usually mix it like 50-50, nothing scientific, just dump some water, dump some auto antifreeze in there. And that's how we store them daily. And I'm not so, in the summer, I'm obviously not concerned about freezing, but I'll tell you, just water in your pumps will corrode inside. And I've tested this theory, and they will rust and will corrode. So make sure you use auto antifreeze and don't spend a ton of money on that Graco pump armor, because all it is auto antifreeze that's dyed blue. So auto antifreeze is significantly cheaper, and it's an anti-corrosive. It will keep, if you don't clean it out good enough, it'll keep the paint suspended. It won't settle and stick to the hose, which eventually breaks off over time. In the wintertime, whether I keep them, indoors, or if I'm ever worried about them freezing, I always put 100% auto antifreeze in them, so they won't freeze. Or if they're stored for long-term storage, 100% auto antifreeze, and it'll keep things from corroding and rusting.
So what kind of primer to paint over melamine?
Melamine, so UMA primer, so is an amazing primer. It's a water-based primer by XIM, and it was actually designed to go onto melamine. And if you're using, depending on what you're putting as a top coat, but UMA primer will make it so you can paint tile, you can paint melamine, you can paint plastic, paint glass, stuff like that. I use, and I've tested this now, Centurion coatings, 2K poly, catalyzed onto melamine and metal, and it's on there for good. And it's on there just like UMA primers. So if you're using Centurion coatings, 2K poly, you don't even have to prime. You catalyze your 2K poly, and it will bond to anything.
So this guy keeps wanting to ask, have you used any Renner products on cabinet refinishing yet? I've painting company in Toronto, and Renner is by far the best product I've ever used for cabinets.
So I have used Renner, and I've used a bunch of different products from Renner. I think for cabinet coatings, Renner's 851 is definitely their best product. But just for me, I've had problems with customer support and technical support, and Renner is an Italian-based company out of Italy. And eventually, due to a lot of logistics, not being able to get product, getting bad customer service, we were in the market looking for a new coating to substitute that. We ran into Centurion coatings. We're able to fly to the factory, met the owners. And it's a USA-based company, so 100% USA made. Centurion Coatings manufactures 100% of their products in-house. They grind their own pigments. They make their own products right there.
They have no shortage of products right now.
No shortage. They got amazing technical support, customer support, and they were a lot more readily available than Renner also. And I find when I catalyze the Renner 2K Poly 2800 series coating, there's nothing I've ever felt as good as that. I mean, the buttery like finish that Centurion coatings, the 2800 series product, to me, when even comparing it with Renner 851, I like the Centurion coatings way better.
So Carlos says, hey Chris, I was thinking about investing in a Titan ED 655, plus any input on that model. Usually a Graco guy, but I know Titan is up there as well.
So the ED65 is a diaphragm pump, and it's a pump that runs all the time, and it's kind of same theory behind the Titan 3000, Elite 3000 diaphragm-based pump. That 3000 is a lifetime warranty on that pump. It continually runs. Those pumps are actually, it has a hopper up top, very affordable pump. Mm-hmm. It's a great pump if you're using expensive products in and you don't have a lot of the product, because it's a little hopper on top. You dump the product in the top. So typically people using those pumps are shooting lacquers on cabinets, and most guys are using lacquers, and once again, expensive products like Centurion coatings. Any of your 2K polys are pretty expensive, and you don't want to waste them, especially if you're catalyzing them. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not sure necessarily what you're using it for, but the 655, it runs continually all the time, which generates heat, and that heat is going to cause a catalyzed product to kick off a little bit faster. So if you got a 5-hour pot life, be aware that an ED is probably going to decrease that pot life to about 4 hours. And I know somebody that's come here at Boise from Twin Falls recently with a problem with the ED65 creating bubbles, micro bubbles in the product from the vibration from it. But I think that was an isolated issue. But I really like the pump. It's a great little pump, and it is a diaphragm pump. So a little bit different technology than like the 440, 440i. And once again, an affordable pump, but great for doing small projects using expensive
So I have
coatings.
one more question for you, and then we want to do something, a giveaway.
Okay.
What's your advice painting stucco that has a chalky surface?
So say that again.
Painting stucco that has a chalky surface.
Yeah,
Emulsibon?
so you can't scrub the stucco. So like if you're using or if you have metal siding or vinyl siding, you can scrub it, but sometimes that's pretty impractical. This summer I did this commercial building that was a metal siding that was the worst case of chalkiness. You would just wipe your hand on it, tons of chalk, then you would power wash it with a rotating nozzle. With stucco, power wash it with a rotating nozzle. You try to get as much of the chalkiness off, but add emulsibon to your paint. Emulsibon was specifically created to help paint stick to chalky surfaces, and I'll tell you, it works amazing. So
you have a video on
I have a video.
YouTube.
So it was just this summer. I discussed it, showed how it functions, how it works on this metal building.
And then the next day you put tape on it to.
Yeah, and it works amazing. So,
okay, I have one more. Jonathan Carter says, can you use Sherwin-Williams super paint on cabinets, or is it more for painting walls?
I wouldn't say highly not recommended. No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. So yeah, that's really bad.
So Michael Slanda says, when priming multiple coats using Centurion coating, do you catalyze every coat?
So it all depends on what you want out of the product. So catalyzing the first coat gives you that bond. So depend on what you're putting on. If you want the best bond you possibly can have, you're going to obviously catalyze your first coat, because that's going to give you that bond. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't if you're spraying 2 coats, so I don't prime. There's no need for a primer unless you're filling grain with Centurion Coatings 2800 series. They have a primer, an 1107 primer, which is great for filling grain or bare wood or stopping dye migration or tannin bleed. But if you're doing repaints going over a previously coated surface, you do not need to prime. But my first coat will be catalyzed, because I want a really good bond. I'm very particular. I'm very scared I'm not going to get a good adhesion. I give a 5-year warranty. I want to make sure I get a good bond no matter what that surface is, whether it's a lacquer, whether it's a paint, whether it's a conversion varnish. I just want to make sure I'm going to sand, which I get a mechanical bond, but I'm going to prime it. Now my top coat, the same product goes right over the top of that after sanding with 320. If I don't catalyze that top coat, then I'm not going to get the chip resistance, the scratch resistance, the mar resistance, chemical resistance, water resistance that I would get by adding a catalyst to that. It all gets on my primer coat. If I do it to my primer coat, all that gets buried over my top coat. So I catalyze my first coat to get the good bite and bond. I sand, put a top coat over the top of that, and then I've got the assurance that all that comes with. Now, with saying that, with catalyzing the product, Centurion's 2800 series 2K poly is 10 times better than anything you can get over the counter. I've done cross-hatch tests. I'm going to be showing some of that coming up in video. Scratch test, mar test. Right out of the can, it performs better than anything you can buy. Advanced, Pro Classic, Emerald Urethane, it blows them all away. But you add a catalyst to it, and you're putting the best, hands down, than anything of your competitors would be doing, and you're getting a factory-like finish that you can stand behind and not be worried about chipping, scratching down the road like lacquers, stuff like that do.
So Martin says, do you recommend cleaning with Dawn soap along with deglossing? Also, does it need to be sanded when doing deglossing the previous finish?
So, and this goes back to the way I used to do things. So, and which always, I was always afraid of what would happen. But, back in the old days, I hated sand because of creating all the dust, all the contamination and stuff. And the hand sanding was just a pain in the neck, time consuming. So when it comes to repaints, cabinets, and trim, we'd always washed and cleaned our trim with a deglosser. And the deglosser softens that coating and makes it so you can spray a top coat right over the top of that without sanding. And so we would degloss. But over time, we started running into adhesion problems with products like Columbia Aqua Shield, which no paint would adhere to. It'd peel off. And so we started having some paint failures, and I started becoming really afraid, started having to go back and fix people's paints that was coming off that we did come from deglossing. And if you don't make sure you degloss everything, and the guys aren't very particular at getting all the contaminants off, you'll run into adhesion issues. Eventually, I was introduced to sanders, the EcoSand line 3x4 sanders. I was blown away how fast and easy you can sand without ever having to hand sand. And so sanding gives you a mechanical bond. And so what we do is we clean with Dawn dish soap. So you got to, if you don't clean with Dawn dish soap, you'll sand and you'll just grind any contaminations into your surface.
So you should always clean first.
So you always clean with Dawn dish soap, first. Dawn dish soap doesn't leave any residue. If you leave anything behind, Dawn dish soap is not going to cause fisheye or anything like that. Clean with Dawn dish soap. Sand, and then you'll top coat. And you don't need to degloss if you're sanding. So a deglosser does the same thing as sanding does. Sanding creates a mechanical bond. It etches and creates a profile for your paint to bite to. And that's what a deglosser creates, a soft surface for your paint to bite to. So if you're sanding, you don't need to degloss. So
okay. So Fisheye says, how fast can you cut and roll a 15 by 15 room?
Pretty dang fast. And so I've got,
I should give you a brush and we could
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, like this room right here, I mean, I could.
You're not usually in a hurry when you just cruise along when you do it.
I mean, it would take
10
minutes or so. I mean, I could cut it in pretty fast, but I mean, fast is all relative. I
Yeah.
don't know what 10 minutes would be. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I've never timed myself cutting in a room like that, but I got to the point where, I mean, I was for 10 years doing all the cut-ins on every job that we had. And so, because for a really dumb reason, I would never trust anybody doing the cut-ins but myself, which was really dumb. And so I always did the cut-ins, and eventually it got pretty dang fast at doing it. So, I mean, I could do them pretty fast.
So somebody wants to know if you've used, where'd it go? PPG. Have you ever used PPG Breakthrough on cabinets?
PPG Breakthrough is an absolutely amazing product. So,
but you haven't used it on cabinets.
Not specifically cabinets, but PPG Breakthrough.
Is that our front door?
It's our front doors. So our
It's
front
a good
door.
product.
I had custom doors made for our front doors, and I was very, very concerned because they had this very micro grain on them. So I didn't want anything too thick that would fill in that grain. I wanted something really thin, but then once again, something very durable because there's dogs running in and out of our house and stuff. And I needed something. They were vinyl, so they were a custom vinyl door. So I needed something to bond to the vinyl. I did a lot of research on a lot of different coatings, and it had to be inside and outside. And so that's another thing that got thrown in there. I eventually decided on PPG Breakthrough. It's been absolutely amazing. Sprayed well. It's held up for 3 years. No scratches from the dogs. It's a great, great product. PPG Breakthrough can go on floors, can go on cabinets, can go on a lot of different surfaces. But I'll tell you, when it comes to like Breakthrough versus Centurion 2K Poly, when you actually feel, touch a door that's been done by a Centurion 2K Poly, that's when you go, oh my God, this thing came directly from the factory. This has got a buttery, like amazing feel. It's got this thick feel to it. Centurion 2K Poly Catalyze is going to be more chemical resistant, more water resistant, more scratch and mar resistant. But that doesn't mean that, I mean, Breakthrough, is a great, what I call over the counter product. But once again, if you're doing cabinets, the speed at which you can sand, the speed at which you can stack and flip if you're spraying down is absolutely incredible. If you get a run on a door, Centurion sands like a lacquer, dries like a lacquer, so you can sand out a run without Bondo, without wet sanding. You can take a 3x4 sander with Film Tech sand, run out like that, and you won't even see it.
So I know I clarify, I don't paint. I love paint. I love everything about
everybody
it.
paints.
Well,
it's whether that's how.
Anyways, I
What's
support you when you paint, and I watch you do projects. So clarifying, but what I've learned just from watching you is that every product, there's a learning curve, and there's things that you have to figure out, and it takes time. Every product, when you switch and try a new product, you're figuring out. And we have Jay Pryor painting, and he's saying Centurion's not that good. And so I'm just curious, why do you say that? Did you have one bad experience? Because I know, like you, when you were testing it, one time the wrong base got sent to you, and you had problems working with it. You actually made it look really good by adding thickener and doing different things, and it turned out great. And then you found out it was the wrong base, and you learned from that and you made it work. But I just think, I'm curious, because a lot of products, your first time use could be bad.
So I mean, it comes down to first, why do you say it's not so good? What are you comparing it? What was your experience? I'll tell you, the very first time I sprayed Centurion coatings, the top coat of Centurion coatings, I won't talk about the primer, I'll talk about the top coat. It ran on me everywhere. So, I mean, and I laugh because the thing is you got to ask yourself why. And that's why I'm a self-taught painter, and it goes back to the beginning of my career. The very first job I ever sprayed in my career was an interior trim package, and I sprayed it with a 517 tip. And so I'm sure everybody out here knows what the end result was. It was a disaster. And it was a big failure, and you have to ask yourself why. So immediately I sprayed the Centurion coatings, and I got runs everywhere. And I asked myself why. I looked at it, and I was using a 310 tip, a Titan 310 5 finish tip. And I was like, and I looked at the coating, I looked at the viscosity of the coating. I'm like, okay, this is thinner than everything that I typically am familiar with, like a Moldurethane for one thing, which I have a lot of experience spraying with a 310 tip. I said, what do I need to change to get the right result? I grabbed a Tritech 208 tip. I sanded everything out. 45 minutes later, it sanded out all the runs. Amazing. I was then blown away like how fast I could sand out the runs. I can make corrections to my failures, to the problem that happened. All of a sudden, it sanded out. I was blown away how fast it sanded out. So then I was all of a sudden, in 1 minute, I was like pissed at the product, pissed at what happened. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing how fast it dried, how fast I sanded it. I reshot it with a Tritech tip, turned down the pressure a little bit, and bam, it was amazing. I looked at it and I looked at the finish. I was like, holy cow, that is awesome. So, I mean, sometimes you have to just look at yourself in the mirror and go, is it me or is it the product? And so don't write out the product right away because um, I was convinced, that I needed to switch to a 2K poly because I did a lot of research and study about 2K polys, and this is what my customers deserve. They deserve the best product. So I need to figure out how to spray these products and how to use these products. Do I need to spray it hanging or can I spray it down? Another time I sprayed, down the road, I sprayed the 2K poly and I got runs every door. It was literally dripping all over the floor. The vanity was running everywhere.
I was there.
And you were there, and I literally wanted to cry. I thought, I mean, this was an absolute disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and
it was a long day.
It was a long day, and so what I found out, I called up the rep. This is one of the reasons why Centurion is amazing. I got him on the phone instantly. Told him what happened. He said, "What's the product?" I read the base to him. He's like, "There was a mistake made. It was shot in the wrong base." And he's like, "We're going to ship you." They sent me the next base, overnighted me the next base. It's sanded out, everything sanded out. Bam, amazing, easy. I sanded everything out, every door, probably about 15 minutes. Reshot it, boom. That vanity is absolutely amazing, like glass. And so there's a learning curve to everything you do. It took me a little bit to go from emerald urethane to a 2K poly. I'd sprayed multiple 2K polys, Renner's 2K poly, a bunch of different ones, and I've now started to dial it in. I still don't have it perfected, but I know the end result. All you got to do is come to our store if you're local. Feel some of the doors that are on display in our store, and as soon as you touch and feel a store or a door, you're going to go, "This is what I'm going to spray." So,
well, even our displays.
And I'm not just saying like trying to convince. I'm telling you, this is game changing. And I'll compare it with Advance. Advance, you can't even sand it for 16 hours. And when you do sand it after 16 hours, you're going to load up your sandpaper if you don't move fast. You can't stack it. It has a cure time. The last vanity I did in Advance, like 5 days later, I actually bumped it and nicked the vanity because it still wasn't cured. And so you can't even do a second coat for 16 hours because you need to stand in between coats if you want to get that ultra fine finish, that flat finish. Centurion coatings, a 2K poly, you can sand it 45 minutes later and shoot your next coat. That's game changing. And
But I think like for you, you are about being efficient and production, but you don't have to give up quality with these products. And so that's the thing. It's finding that balance of things that dry fast but are an amazing finished product.
But if you don't like, I mean, look, if you had a bad experience with Centurion, there's other 2K. Malaysia makes a 2K poly. Ilva makes a 2K poly. Renner makes a 2K poly. There's 2K polys out there, and I mean, you really need to migrate to these water-based coatings. For one reason, they won't blow your house up, and this is a major issue. So there's no explosion risk, and there's no really strong lacquer odor risk. But man, I'm telling you, there's been multiple people blowing houses up, across the U.S. with lacquers. So by sweeping, igniting it, by refrigerator igniting it, by somebody switching a light switch, ignited it. So they're dangerous, really dangerous.
So we are going to be on for about 10 more minutes. We have a few more questions, and we got to do a couple giveaways, but know that there's 40 people represented in this bag, and all of them donated money for the tornado victims. And so all the money that they gave, these $20, 40 tickets, will go to charity. But one person will win a 410. So we're going to be doing that drawing shortly.
Somebody said, are you having problems finding primer? So this is funny. Like I had a garage I was doing to shoot a video on, and then doing the garage, I called up Sherwin-Williams, And the first 3 products I said, "Do you have this product?" They're like, "No, it won't be manufactured at least until spring." I said, "Well, what about this product?" And they said, "No, same thing." I said, "Well, what about this product?" And they said, "No, same thing." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." It's like, do you guys even sell paint anymore? So then I just like, oh gosh, I just called Rada Paint up and said, hey, do you got some paint that I can paint a garage with? And they said Wall Pro, and they said it's a great product. And so I went and purchased Wall Pro. It is actually really good. I've never heard of it, never used it. If you're painting a garage and Rada Paint is near you, I wouldn't say I got a good price on it. I think I got ripped off price wise.
But you don't buy from there, so
Yeah, it was $33 a gallon. And then
good.
somebody just came into the store and said, "Oh, you should be paying around 15 for it." And I just, whatever. But it was a good paint. It performed extremely well. The only thing, I would say it probably lacked is, I mean, it could hang just a little bit better, but great product.
So the reason why we're doing the show, because
And it
it's
was
part 2, was Paint Life members, we wanted a group where you were safe to share and people were helpful and encouraging. And we picked a Paint Life member of the year and gave him a sprayer. And then we just wanted to do a giveaway. And so since we sold those 40 tickets, we're hopping on here to do that giveaway. But we have this fisheye 27, and he's like, there's a holiday on the wall behind you, which I'd like to go on a holiday. And then he's like, he's been painting for over 30 years, tape, and he could teach you a lot. So anyways, if that's the attitude that you have, I don't know why you're with us.
Go find another platform to complain on and nitpick my walls with. I personally think my walls look pretty good, and I know for a fact there's not a holiday on there. And I'm not sure if you even know what a holiday is.
Well, but I mean, I guess
I'm not even gonna
the point is with Paint Life members, we picked somebody because we wanted to catch them doing good, and we have amazing people on this feed. But I just
so I
was curious.
Too,
so I was just curious why you were
get on our platform and start
I guess
nitpicking my office.
It's a troll. But anyways, that's
my live show.
That's not why we're here. But anyways, I
Yeah.
hope you have a blessed day and people are encouraging to
Happy
you.
holidays. And anyways.
Yeah.
So we had to give away a couple. We said because I wanted to do some giveaways, give away a couple gift cards, to Paint Life Supply Co. Give away one $50 gift card to somebody that the chat's like going crazy. Thank you very much to you guys for getting on here and chatting, especially on a Friday. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the questions, and there's nothing worse than doing a live show and having no questions and sitting here talking to a camera, trying to make up things to talk about. When you guys, and I really apologize if we can't get to your guys' questions because the feed is going crazy. And we appreciate that. So this is all about, being on here live and giving back to the community and answering your questions and giving you the opportunity to, see us live and look at our office and nitpick the office. I'm sure somebody probably wondering why, there's paper hanging on the mirror over there, but that's on there because glare would come from the light.
Yeah. So. Anyways, I mean, this is a working office, and we have an old home, and our home is definitely not perfect, but I love my home. So you've done a great job.
Am I a good painter?
You do. But
you do.
I could always have something repainted. I do love watching him paint.
So give away a gift card to somebody. $50
so Nick Martin says, "Great job, guys! You've helped our business so much. Funky Monkey Painting."
That's pretty cool. We'll give you a gift card for $25 or $50.
$50. Funky Monkey Painting.
Nick Martin, you got yourself a gift card for $50.
So how is he going to get it?
So go to paintlifesupply.com, and there's a Reamaze icon down on the bottom, and that's just another way that we our ultimate goal is to help people out, and you know, whether we're good painters or not, or whether we have holidays on our walls or not. You know, we have a store, paintlifesupply.com, and there's a Be Amazed icon. And when you actually get on there and chat on that thing, it actually sends a message to my phone.
Yeah.
And
there's some on there.
24 hours a day.
There's some
And
on
so go to that icon, say what you want, Nick, Martin from Funky Monkey, and say, hey, this is Nick, this is what I want, and give us your email address, and we're going to email you the gift card. We really appreciate you, Nick, being on here, being part of the live show.
So Jay says, anyone try Zinsser Smart Prime?
So Zinsser across the board makes some amazing products, and I don't think Zinsser makes anything that's not good, literally. And I think Zinsser is owned by Rust-Oleum, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. Should I not say that?
Probably.
You act like I shouldn't say that.
I don't know.
It's not like they're paying me to say anything. It's
No,
like,
they're not. They're not.
So
I think they are related.
So whether I say it or not, whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter because neither one of them are paying me
Yeah.
to say anything. So so Zinsser makes amazing products. So today I was just using Zinsser Bin spray primer, shellac primer. It's like the cure-all to everything. So I'm doing a 1950s remodel that I'm doing cabinets and some walls, and I'm having fisheye contamination problems, all kinds of problems. The bomb cans at Zinsser Bin are amazing.
But he was in the shower and what kind of caulking did they do in that shower?
Oh my gosh. So I did a live, and it was titled, you know, in the shower.
And he
live
really was
with
in the
Idaho
shower?
Painter. And I really was in the shower. I wasn't taking showers. With it really, and this is what was funny, it really offended somebody that I said that I was in the shower, and they thought I was going to be in the shower.
You were in the shower.
And I wasn't actually taking a shower, so they felt like it was clickbait. And so they thought I was a total fraud and a scam. And so I don't really think you want to see me taking a shower. So I was in the shower because oh my gosh,
that was the point, was how bad
the caulking was.
Like two caulkings over
three
each other.
caulkings. They caulked the shower and the edge of the shower with 100% silicone, polyurethane, latex. It was an absolute disaster. And I was, for 2 hours, cutting out caulking. And so use the right sealant for the right place. I don't know what, and so why you even brought that up, but
oh, because you're saying it's an old house and the shellac solved everything. And I was just thinking I was watching you use your Linbite scraper and your 2-edge knife. And
so one thing,
it was good to have muscles.
So one thing no primer will resolve is if somebody smears silicone caulking on something. It's non-paintable, it's non-primeable, it's bad. Do not put silicone caulking anywhere like that you need to paint. It's like inside of a shower, that's okay. Inside, not the edge of the shower where it meets the wall, that's got to be painted. Bad.
So this guy, he keeps asking, if I don't want to spend $1,500 on an airless sprayer, what's a good compromise? Any thoughts? I mean, the 440s.
Spend $1,000.
Yeah, a 440's $1,000, and I think the 410 is like around 800.
So the 410, I would never go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy any Control Max sprayer, any X5, X17, those are all do-it-yourself sprayers that are basically like what I consider like one-use sprayers. They're not repairable. You can't lube them. You can't replace the pistons. You can't replace the packings. They're like typically rated for a few gallons, and then they
a few more, but
don't work anymore. And they're do-it-yourself sprayers that if you go watch my reviews, I painted a house with one, a Graco one, and yes, they will spray paint, and they're going to perform, but they're really not. The spray guns that they come with are really bad. The Control Max sprayers are, and this is very critical, they're proprietary sprayers that are HEA sprayers, and you have to understand this, high heat efficiency airless sprayers. They run at low pressures. So all of them, the Control Max sprayers.
So you can't put like a 515.
They have a proprietary hose, they have proprietary fittings and a proprietary gun. The tips have a proprietary tip and guard. So you can't use any tip in that guard. You can't put a whip on it. We make a conversion kit so you can convert the hose so you could run a whip on it. You can take the guard off, put another tip in there, but it's supposed to be an HEA tip because the pump itself runs at a maximum, I believe it's 1100 PSI. But I've actually did a video. I used the Control Max sprayer and painted some cabinets with it using a fine finish Tritech tip, and it worked. I did the finish and it performed, but it's not going to last. And so the entry level sprayers, Titan makes the 410, which is a great sprayer, and that's around $800. The 440 is going to run you around $1,000.
So somebody wanted to ask, have you talked about Floetrol? I think Floetrol to your paint.
So Floetrol, so you have Penetrol and you have Floetrol. Penetrol goes in oil-based paints. Floetrol would go in water-based paints. And Floetrol is a great additive if you're brushing and rolling for a lot of paints that don't flow and level well, which is a lot of them don't. And so XIM latex extender is what we use, and so that's available at paintlifesupply.com. The XIM latex extender, put a little cap full in your paint, and it's definitely gonna slow down dry time, make it flow and level better. Paints like Benjamin Moore Advanced are the bomb when it comes to brushing and rolling. They don't need any additives in it. They were designed to flow and level without additives. Same with Emerald Urethane. You don't need to put anything in there, but if you're brushing and rolling, say like Solo, Pro Classic, some other low-end, trim paints and stuff, or if you're rolling walls on a like a level 5 finish, you should probably put some.
So can it change the sheen? Somebody asked that. It kills your sheen.
It's not supposed to. So and
is you putting too much in?
If you're, you got to be careful how much you put in. But XIM latex extender does not, degrade the quality of the paint. Is not supposed to adjust or change the sheen at all. You're literally only putting like a capful in it.
Okay, so it's not that much.
It's a tiny bit.
Okay, so I wanted to. It's 8 o'clock.
You gotta give away another $50.
BPH says, not saying this, but we literally started a painting company 3 years ago, based only on watching your YouTube videos. My husband knew nothing about painting, and now we're successful. So, I mean, that's amazing. And so,
very cool.
We want to send them a $50 gift card.
So you got.
So it's VPH.
VPH painting. Thank you for being on. Thank you for your support and just thank you for sharing. Your experience, and it's literally like stuff like that. We get it every day. That's what keeps us doing what we're doing, and because we know we're making a difference. We know we're making a difference in regards to whether we have holidays on our wall or not. It's we just simply want to help people out. I'm simply sharing my journey, my experience, and so I'll just get into this real briefly. My videos, I have, I think, over 2,000 videos on YouTube now. My videos are not how you should paint, how professional painters should paint. My videos are only my experience, what's worked from me, a self-taught painter who never worked for a journeyman painter. I started a painting company, 5 years of bad experiences, learning the hard way, learning how to work myself out of the paper bag all by myself. And it was a long journey. And so I learned how not to do things and how to do things. And I wanted to share them on YouTube. So it's only what's worked for me. And watch the videos, and it may work for you or it may not. And if it does, use it. If it doesn't, file it away as whatever.
So this is the last one.
Last one.
There's a lot of great questions. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. What is the best way to touch up trim after it's sprayed? Like if you have pops on the trim, if you have to pop the trim off and need to re-nail it and fill the hole, how can you make it look like it's not touched up? Does the brush have something to do with it?
So this is really starting to get into advanced painting, and so when it comes to doing touch-ups, this is an art and a skill that takes a lot of practice, and so it's not something that you learn in a day. Um, and
What tips can you give?
it's when you um, and I'll just take a wall for an example. When you spray paint out of a sprayer, it atomizes the paint, and the atomization process of the paint changes the paint, and it's pushing it through this microscopic orifice, and it's changing the paint. And what it does is it throws out the paint, and it throws out the tint flakes in a certain pattern, and they lay out in a certain pattern, and they have a certain look to them, and the look to them. They actually have a certain color to them because of how they're laid out. Now, when that wall is all done and somebody puts a nail hole or a scratch in that wall, and you've got to go touch it up, and especially if it's a mid-tone color, dark color, you have yourself a problem. And so the reason why you have yourself a problem is you have a sprayed on finish, though it's this nice smooth glassy finish. You have tint colorants that's laid out in a specific pattern, and now you're going to take a brush and or a roller for that matter, and I'm going to brush some paint over this scratch or nick or ding. Now you've left a completely different paint pattern, not a sprayed pattern. You've laid a brush pattern, and what you're actually doing is you're brushing out the paint and you're brushing out the tint in a certain pattern, and it's going to lay it out in a certain way that's going to completely change the color. It's going to completely change the sheen to it, and it's very difficult. It's not easy. So it's one of the drawbacks of spraying is touch-ups. Touch-ups become very important. So how do you touch up? And that every like trim is one thing, a wall is another thing, a textured wall is one thing, a smooth wall is another thing. And it comes down to the tools that you use are going to make you successful in the touch-up. And some just quick tips: if you have a little ding, this is what I would see, like my new guys would walk in with a roller and they would like roll over the ding. Now the ding was this small and you just roll over a large spot like that. So you've just created, a color difference, a pattern difference, and everything. We have touch-up brushes, and I have like on our store Paint Life Supply Co, I have this artist brush set, and we just touch up, dab that little nick or ding with paint. If it's on the trim, if it's a scratch, you don't take a roller, you don't take a big brush and brush over the nick or ding. You take artist brushes and you're just fixing that nick or ding. Some of the things you can do with the paint, you take some of the paint and you water it down a little bit, so you're knocking down the sheen, because as you do a touch up, if you're going to roll that spot, you're building paint on top of paint, which is actually going to build sheen. And so it's going to make it more shiny. So you add some water, knock it down. We never use a roller when we're touching up. We'll use it like a regular nap roller. We'll use a foam roller and just foam roll it. And if you got a large spot that you're like a hole or something, and we're going to feather it out with a roller, and you're kind of feathering out with a brush, or you're feathering out with a roller. So there's an art and a skill to it, and I've got some videos on doing touch-ups. So and using, when you're doing touching up, so for instance trim, when I'm touching up trim, we typically always spray the trim. When you're touching it up, if it's been sprayed, use a Premier Hampton brush. A Premier Hampton is a all nylon filament brush, very soft, and it's going to feather out your paint very nicely. A stiff brush, this isn't a stiff one, but I'm showing you the Malibu. It's stiffer than, because it's a blended, it's stiffer than a Hampton. It's going to rope and leave brush strokes on there. So if you're going to touch up trim, add XIM latex standard to your paint, take a Hampton brush, and just where the spot is, get it and just feather it out. If the trim was hand brushed, man, it's so much easier to touch it up. So
You know what? It has been a great night.
Yeah.
Paint Company
An hour and
did
8
a
minutes.
super chat. So thank you so much. So this is what I'm sure some people have been waiting for.
We have a Titan 410 giveaway.
So
how do people enter the raffle?
So it was for Paint Life members, and it was an opportunity for them to donate $20 to tornado victims. And
so everybody that bought a ticket,
we sold 40 tickets, and you have a 1 in a 40 chance of winning. So
and all the money is going to
well, we have a link. We're going to give it to the tornado victims.
Okay.
Well, through an organization. But if you did want to donate on our store, I know our daughter got a link that you can donate, and they take care of it going, and it's to the tornado victims. So if you're on our site and you go to like donate, you can see something coming up. So drum roll.
Somebody asked, what was my go-to primer for MDF? I use 1107 Centurion. 1107 is an amazing primer for bare wood. After 8 hours, it'll stop dye migration, tan and bleed. Great product. So that answers that question. So
it's time. It's time.
So here we go. I'm mixing them up really good, and the winner is. That's interesting how it all got fuzzy there.
Oh,
I'm not sure why.
Fuzzy.
There's the winner. So the winner is right here.
Who is that?
It's Tracy Smith.
I can't even read it. It's backwards.
Tracy Smith.
Tracy Smith.
Tracy Smith, you just won
a Titan 410
sprayer.
And we have, well, it's ours. We purchased it from Titan, and we will be shipping it to you on Monday.
Yeah, so that's the second Titan 410 we've given away. If you're not a member of Paint Life members, where we just gave away another one on Facebook, go follow us on Facebook, and that group. It's a private group where if you ask a question on that group, you are literally going to get 20 to 30 people help you out. It's an amazing group. I don't think there's any other group where you'll get the support that you get there. If you have any question, it's going to be answered respectfully by a lot of knowledgeable people.
And if it's not respectfully, then they get to go bye-bye.
They get booted. If you're disrespectful, if you're vulgar, if you're not kind, if you want to bully people, you're going to be booted.
There's enough of that in the world, and we really our desire is to be a safe place, because we all are learning. I mean, Chris is continuously learning. That's what's been fantastic about this season that we're in, is he's able to test out different products. He's able to learn about them and share that. So thank you for being a part of our community.
If you want to come here and nitpick my walls, go somewhere else.
Don't get salty. It's okay.
Live show to go troll on.
Don't get salty.
I got paint on my hands from painting today. White.
Yeah, people wonder.
Somebody said, got on Instagram and made a comment, do you even really paint, bro? And so I do. But
you're not you know what? I don't paint, and I go to the job sites and I get covered in paint, and he's painting all day and he doesn't get covered in paint. So paint is attracted to me.
Yep. Thank you everybody for being on the live show, spending your Friday evening with us. We really appreciate it.
And congratulations, Tracy.
Stay tuned for more live shows, more giveaways. We appreciate it. If you want something on our show, make sure you go to paintlifesupply.com, go down to the Reamaze icon, and let us know who you are, where you won, what you won. Give us your email address, and we will get back with you and get you your winnings. So there you have it.
Thank you.
I got to go work out. It's
not me.
My Friday evening now is going to be spent in the gym working out. We'll see you right here on our next live show here on Paint Life TV. Out.
I said out.